Hello internet friends, welcome back to my channel. Happy you've made it back. My name is Lindsay, and if you're new here, hey, what's up? Glad you made it. Alright, so recently I got a comment from Ann Lou, which said, I'd be interested in your take on what mindset to apply as an INTJ for taking care of your body, especially if you have like a long-term chronic illness or if you have any kind of issues. We are not exactly known for taking care of physical things. And isn't that the damn truth? Well, when I saw this comment come in, I was reminded of a story from about a year ago in which I really pushed my physical boundaries because I was so driven to the NI goal and plan that I just walked over every piece of relevant sensory that I probably should have attended to and still managed to somehow survive. So I don't really enjoy telling personal stories, but this one just you need to hear it because it makes an impact. It impacted me and my kidneys. So about a year ago, it was in November of, what was a year ago? 2018, yeah, 2018 November, I came down with a lovely kidney infection, and that was exciting. I knew what it was. I'm able to self-diagnose relatively well, so I knew what was going on. And at the same time, I was very much going with my NI because it was around the holidays. I was preparing for a really big aerial show and also had my day job going on. And I just could not skip a beat because there was critical endpoints that I needed to get to at a certain time in the sequence of life where I was. And I was stepping over every bit of sensory on the way there to get there. So I was kind of doing my homeopathic thing as I tend to do, which usually does the trick, but I was not very diligent with it because of how engrossed I was in the NI journey, right? And so it got to be a day at work in which I realized I'm not really feeling very well at all. In fact, I'm feeling quite not okay right now. And I ended up taking my temperature that morning before I went to work, and I had 104-degree fever. And so I just kind of wrote it out through the day. And by around 12 o'clock, I was in a meeting and I realized that I am straight up hallucinating right now. There is moving things around me that are not people. They're the walls, and they're wiggling in a strange fashion. And right about at that time, someone in the meeting said, Lindsay, are you okay? You don't look so good. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel so good. I think I'm gonna head out. They're like, yeah, you look like you need to go. You just don't look okay. And I was like, okay. So drove myself to urgent care, ended up, there in the waiting room. And at that point I was like, well, I need to really pull it together right now, because if this doctor knows that I'm in this kind of condition, and I make that very obvious, it's more than likely they're going to admit me into the hospital. And I knew for myself it was at that point. And so I was like, well, I can't let that happen because there is a lot of important things that need to be happening, and I cannot be stuck in a hospital for multiple days. So I walked right over that sensory. I pulled it together. And the thing is for intuitive dominance, it's for us to be able to ignore the sensory in a metaphysical way that should not be attainable to any human being, it can sometimes be just too easy, right? So I get in there, she was like, wow, you have such a high fever. How long have you been sick for? Whatever, did some tests. She was like, yeah, definitely it's, this is what it looks like, confirmed my suspicions. And she was like, but you know what, you seem kind of okay. And I'm just playing off I don't know, I'm just feeling a little under the weather, she's like, and I'm hesitant to do this, but I'm just going to give you the strong antibiotics and kind of just come back if you need anything more, basically. I was like, great, awesome. So got them. I was like, yes, I nailed that one. Now the problem is when you're sick at that level, just antibiotics alone does not cut the deal. So anyway, throughout the next 3 months, okay, so 12 weeks of going back and forth between urgent care and getting different antibiotics, somehow I finally, after 3 months, made it out alive. But in the meantime, I had all these other things that were going on. I had this aerial performance for over 2,000 people. And I remember it was on Christmas Eve. And I remember on Christmas Eve being like, wow, I really hope that I don't seriously screw this up and end up in the hospital tomorrow as Merry Christmas, friends and family. Like, here is Lindsay for this Christmas. I'm like, that would not be a very nice Christmas present to give anyone. That was also the night that I was scrounging in a cabinet to find more antibiotics that were not even mine, just so I could take them to get through this show because I had ran out of my other ones. Anyway, I know this story is probably horrific to hear, but the thing is like, I made it out and I made it out okay, right? But the thing is I shouldn't have made it out okay. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like, I probably did a little bit of damage during that journey, you know? But I still did it anyway. And that is what intuition will do to a person if you're not appropriately checking in with your sensory. So, don't yell at me about that one. I know that I shouldn't have done it that way. And I did anyway. So that being said, sensory self-care is important. And I definitely tried to make a practice of the basics. Okay, we're talking like super basics here, guys, so that I am able to sustain a healthy, more balanced lifestyle throughout my weeks and throughout my years. These are the things that I have come to at this point in my life practice on a weekly basis, and I find very sustainable for me because they are so simple and because they are very systematized in how I approach them and how I do them. So we're going to get into those. And if these sound too simple and practical to you, I'm sorry for your disappointment, but there's some of us who are working just to, number one, stay hydrated. So after my whole kidney debacle, one thing I got into the practice of from going through that was waking up in the morning and drinking 2 large, like 10-ounce glasses of water back to back and just pounding them through. I am not someone who feels thirst, like hardly ever. It's bizarre. So I don't really get thirsty throughout the day. And if I don't have a cup, particularly that has a straw, I don't 100% know why. I think it's just because it's easier. I will not drink water. Like, it just won't happen. And at the end of the day, I'll be like, did I drink any water today? So in order to not find myself in that position, I wake up in the morning and I drink 2 10-ounce huge cups of water and I just pound it, and then it's over. And then I know that I'm taken care of through like the better half of my day. And so that is how I kind of segment my hydration thing. I do it every single day, every single morning without fail. All right, number 2 is diet. So I really believe in ratios in this sense. So I really try to do more green and fresh than cooked and frozen. And I know that can be difficult sometimes for people, but the thing is it's really not, because taking a bunch of greens and throwing it into a bowl with some other vegetables and like throwing a dressing on it takes not even 5 minutes. And if I can have more greens and fresh food in my diet, I will feel 100 times better than if I am eating more frozen or processed foods. Also, I try to eat within an 8-hour window, which allows your body the time to digest and fully rest its system, because the process of digestion actually takes up a lot of energy within your body. So giving it that time is really important, and I try to follow that. And also, I try to remember that a bag of chips does not count as a meal. Even if they're healthy chips, don't do it, future Lindsay. You're going to regret it. You're going to look at that bag later and be like, oh, dang it. Why? Why you do that? You're so lazy. All right, number 3 is physical exercise. Don't get me wrong, I hate working out. It's terrible. I have been going to a gym in the morning, though, before there's like really anyone there. And I've been going there early 3 days a week. So I try to do some kind of either cardio, weightlifting, resistance 3 days a week, and then have 2 days a week where I really focus on stretching. And for me, that really is needed so that I don't just like form together and calcify as like a weird human calcified clam. And how I really work that is I set my alarms for those times for that week that I know I'm going to be doing those things at the beginning of the week. And then when they go off, you just know, all right, time for me to do the sensory activity, like it or not. All right, so number 4 is nutrition. And listen, you gotta love your blood, okay? I love blood. I'm one of those weird people, but it's not like the sight of blood. It's like I love what's hidden in blood. And blood is your blueprint to what's going on your insides, inside of your body. All the little things that are happening in there, that's your map. So it's so interesting to then look at and then figure out, okay, why are these same things off together? Why are these things a little bit elevated? And I just love blood. It's a giant blood puzzle, okay? It is so cool. Okay, Lindsay, stop making it weird for the people on the internet. Okay, but this is why, as it relates to nutrition, okay? People take like vitamins and supplements, and that's all great and well, but the thing is if you don't know what your body is actually deficient in or elevated in, just taking like multivitamins or just taking any other thing is not always beneficial, and sometimes it's actually doing more harm than good. Why do you want to take in extra sensory if you don't need to, right? So what I recommend doing is getting your blood work done, and not just like your regular blood work, but get some comprehensive stuff going on, right? So micronutrient testing I found to be really beneficial. It's fascinating. It really tests for every little thing, every little amino acid, all these minerals that normal blood work doesn't test for. And within those results, you're able to kind of track patterns of certain things and then really have a good idea of, you know, if you're only, like one time I got a test that showed I was low in copper, right? So random, copper. I would have never thought just to take copper, but that's all I needed to take. I didn't need to take a whole spread of vitamins that really weren't doing anything for me. Just needed to take that one. So make it easy for yourself. Know what you need to take. Know what's going on inside of you. And then that just lets you hack the system. Like, you don't have to mess around trying to figure other stuff out. Just like, you know, see the stuff, figure it out. And the last thing is rest and relaxation. A little R&R goes such a long way. Give yourself at least a half a day, once a week, where you don't have to do anything. You're scheduling your time to chill the heck out. And that's it. And I know it's really basic as it relates to the sensory, but do you know what? By just doing these things consistently, it makes such a big difference in my life, and I hope it inspires you to do some of the same or something like that. I don't know. You guys are smart. Figure it out. This is what's worked for me. So that's the end of this video. I will meet you down in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. There's a blog post on this linked below. I will see you in my next video. Bye. Wow. FI is a very self-amusing function, in case you haven't learned that yet in your history of being a person or whatever you are.